Hi, I'm Dennis Weese for Eagle Communications. Welcome to Clay Center Now, and the Now guy is Mike Folks. Now, I've never asked you this. You know, you go doctor this, doctor that. You have to be a doctor of thinkology, because I heard you say last night that you think budgets, school finance, and the intricacies thereof are fun. What is wrong with you?
Well, lots of things are wrong with me, Dennis. But yeah, at times I think that I probably misrepresented that answer last night, but there's certain components of school budget and school finance that I enjoy working with, and there's times when you're dealing with some negativity and cuts or whatever. It's not always fun, but I do like working with the budget.
Well, you know, it's important to like something if you want to be really good at it, Mike. So, you know, you serve the people well if you like what you do, and a superintendent sits right on top of, square in the middle of school finance, and it's a very important topic.
Yeah, it really is, and you know, it's complicated, but it's simple. I know it doesn't make sense. Sometimes it's kind of obtuse because of all the intricacies and formulas, but then again, when you work with the program, it's pretty simple. It's not high-level math, or I would struggle with it. So
you'd have to ask your kids.
I would have to ask my kids, yes.
Okay, so the viewers know I was at the public forum last night, and I came to listen. I listened to the presentation, and I got to listen to the audience questions and your answers and the team's answers, the school board's answers. Your bond agent answered a couple, and your architect answered a couple. So you're in the process of educating the community about the questions on a November ballot, and further educating them about why they're there and what they represent to the school district. You've had a couple of public forums. I think you're going to do some more of that.
That's correct. We have another forum scheduled on Tuesday, September 30th at Clay Center Community High School.
Okay.
And then we have many civic opportunities. We're going to speak at Rotary and Lions and Chamber Coffee. We've got some steering committee members that are going to speak at you know, Presbyterian Manor and maybe the nursing homes, and a couple coffee groups, and just as informal as possible. But we even have a booth at the Pietique Parade on Saturday.
There you go. There you go. Well, your job is to let people know and to tell them. So every opportunity that you can reach out and get somebody to say what's going on is a great one.
Yeah, and you know, I think we were a little bit behind the game as far as getting our message or our information out. There was quite a bit before we kind of got everything put together and formulated. But it's like I shared with both groups the last two nights, our job is not to tell you how to vote. Our job is to inform you so you can make an educated decision on your own how you want to vote.
Well, I have to tell you, as I was headed up here last night, as watching the sun go down, and which means for me and the rest of the world that comes from a Jewish heritage, this is Happy New Year, Mike. So you're 5775 Tishri. So 5,775 years of recorded history in the Jewish lunar calendar that God gave them in the desert, okay? So, but here's why I thought about that last night. So instead of standing on my porch looking east blowing my shofar, which is a call to repentance, I was coming here to listen to you speak and to your community, and there's only one reason why. It is very, very important that communities get a chance to hear from you. The largest employer probably in town, one of the largest economic engines in town, and the public interfaces with you very critically on November, the first Tuesday in November, it's the 4th, I think.
Correct. By
pulling a lever or marking a box. So they need to know. So we're here as a fill-in from the public forum. So you had to get a number of questions. Some I heard last night you were right there with an answer, and some you said, I got to get back to you on that. So we're here to say, Mike, what's the top couple of questions that you wished you would have had the answer to, that you want to tell me what the question is, and then we'll talk about the answer.
Well, very good, and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
One of the questions that we really weren't prepared for, and we got the question at both Wakefield and Clay Center last night, is what % of our tax base within the district comes from ag land personal property, and business property.
Okay, 3 categories.
3 categories
Right.
there. And, you know, we try to educate the difference between general fund, LOB, bonded interest, capital outlay. We tried to talk about equalization. We even talked about what % we get from the state to fund those different funds. How much of it is local taxes versus equalization. But the one I wasn't prepared for was what I just spoke to.
Okay.
And today I find out, I might have to reference my notes because I want to get it right. So in my notes that I just came from a steering committee, but in Clay County, and I want to make sure that people understand in our school district, we have 4 counties that feed in. When they think of Clay County School District, they think, oh, it's just Clay County. But actually, we grab a pretty good piece out of Riley,
Right.
a piece out of Ottawa, and a piece out of Cloud.
Right.
And so, yeah, we have the luxury of figuring taxes and tax and process in 4 different counties.
Good thing to have a school superintendent that likes to do that.
But in Clay County, which these numbers won't be exact for the school district, but they're real close. Of our county tax base, 23% of it is ag land.
Okay. In Clay?
In Clay County, and that's up 2% from 2010. A lot of the questions were about assessed valuation and how you figure a mill levy rate and how that's different between personal property, business property, and ag land. But 23%, 40% is residential, you and I and the home that we own. 14% is commercial or our businesses. And then we think, well, that's not 100%. Where's the rest of it? 14% is in utilities, and about 8 or 9% is in mineral and RV tax.
Right.
So we're getting close to 100 there.
Okay. I think, to me, that presents a pretty balanced graph. Your highest number is 23%.
40% is personal, but 23 in ag, yes.
All right. So when you're talking about other things, other than the big one in the middle, 23 is your biggest number. So, and that, I would guess across Dickinson County, that where we just passed a bond issue in Abilene, probably very much the same.
I would think so.
You know, you might get a little 2 or 3%, but there's nothing different enough about Clay County or the counties around us to skew that number much.
No, ag-based, real strong ag economy. You know, not a metropolitan area with a lot of booming businesses. We've got some real good businesses, but those numbers probably emulate most of the area, at least the NCKL schools.
I think this might be helpful, and you can veto it if you don't think it is, but you've said mill levy once. I think that's enough.
That's true.
Okay?
Okay.
Here's why. You did an excellent job of working that topic last night, and I'm sure you did the night before, and I'm sure you will again when you get those questions. I want to use this time to talk about real dollars that people write real checks on, because I think it's another way of communicating the exact same thing. So, and all of the graph you had with a stacked bar chart showing capital outlay, bond and interest, all the other stuff. Here's the net as I heard it, correct me if I'm wrong. You're proposing to fix some things, some big things like roofs that leak. You're proposing safety with a safe room at the middle school. You're proposing upgrades to facilities in lighting, HVAC. These are still all core stuff. This is just keeping mama moving things. And then you have a second question that addresses a particular part of your athletic program. And even in question 1, there's a few things about athletics. Wakefield track, upgrades to your local track. But here at the end of the day, from the taxpayer's point of view that we're talking to right now, you have worked this out, that taxation, for all intents and purposes, remain unaffected by what you're doing here. The check at the end of the day will be the same, roughly speaking, as it is today.
Yes, Dennis, and as the steering committee that I just met with today shared, that we need to exacerbate our message on, at the beginning and the end, the bottom line is you've got a couple of proposals there to vote on that equal about $9.7 million, and we can do that without raising your taxes.
Okay.
And that people have shared how. That's not possible.
Yeah. For the purposes of today's conversation, which will be gone so quickly that you will think that I just walked in the door when he starts waving at us, it'll just be gone. You are not proposing to raise real taxes in the community that could be spoken to. There is a big tax increase. No, there is not.
That's
so
right.
Here's what I want you to answer. So why do you need to do what you're proposing to do? Fix the roof. Why do you need to fix the roof?
Well, I think it's pretty evident that deferred maintenance. We've got some roofing issues. We've had roofing issues in the past. We haven't had any equalization in capital outlay, and so we fixed what we absolutely had to try to eliminate some buckets in the hallway, those kind of things. But we have a golden opportunity now with a couple things that have happened to redistribute some taxation to pay for all of these things. And we know that roofing, and probably outside of a safe room at the middle school because of safety, that being our #1 priority, our second priority is roofing.
Okay. Well, you're fixing the floors. A lot of flooring in those maps last night.
Yeah, well, some people have said that's not a need, that's a want. And you don't want to get into a philosophical debate on that. We've got some old flooring that aesthetically does not look very good. I'm not going to say that all of our flooring is a safety hazard. However, we do have some encapsulated asbestos tile that we would like to remove. We have some tile flooring that's broken that we don't have any tile down. They're completely removed. And so we have kind of had the approach, we're going to patch it, and we were kind of chasing our tail, and so we have an opportunity to address it all at once. And a big factor here is just the amount of maintenance time we spend that we could reorganize, reappropriate what they're working on, and so they're not fixing roofs and flooring and those kinds of things.
Okay, here's a curveball, but I hope it's a hanging curveball. If you were a business guy instead of the superintendent of schools at 379, and this was your business, and these were your problems, would you fix the floor?
Yes, absolutely.
If you had to raise the capital on your own, would you be telling your shareholders and your business partners, I'm going to fix the floor?
Yes, it's like when we did a tour with a couple of the board members that hadn't been in all the buildings for a little while. They were like, oh my, we didn't realize, people can get online and look at our test scores, and our test scores are really good. I mean, academically, we do really well in both of our communities. However, when people drive up, aesthetically, they see your external, but then when they walk in, they see. And it's not that our buildings aren't clean, because our custodial staff, they do a fantastic job.
Well, they've scrubbed the floor till there's none left, Mike.
Yeah, right. But, you saw some of the pictures.
Yeah, I did.
Not very aesthetically appealing, and it's not just that. The timing is right to address some of those things that we have deferred.
Right. And, I think you'll get lots of questions in a public format, and you can explain why the time is right. For the purposes of a very short interview, the time is right because through state decision, the equalization process, money has changed categories, and the time for you to do this from a capital perspective is now. Just as stated as a fact. That's your opinion?
No, I think that's a fact.
Oh, I agree.
Okay. When we first started talking about doing a bond issue, it was a safe room and roofs. Okay? Because we were conscientious. I said I wasn't going to bring mill levy rate up, but we were conscientious about taxes, and at that time there was still no equalization in capital outlay. Okay?
Right.
Well, then the Supreme Court ruled and said you're going to have to provide equalization, which actually lowered taxes by 6 mills in LOB. We put that right back in capital outlay for the first time.
2 strikes, Larry. Write that
I know,
down.
my
He said
word.
mill twice.
But because of that, we're able to redistribute where we want to put the taxes so we can pay for a bond issue. The same amount of taxation in a bond issue is $9.7 million versus the same taxation redistributed in capital outlay on the 15th year is $6 million.
Yeah,
Which one would you go for?
I saw that last night. You know, numbers don't work on TV or radio, but it's a numbers issue, so you have to say some of them. But if you want to know and look at the graphs, I would urge you to come see Mike.
Go to our district website.
Yeah, come see Mike, look at the website, because it's very clear, the outcome difference. Okay, let me go down my trail. Lighting and HVAC. You said last night there's two reasons: efficiency, and it needs fixed. So you talked about the rumbling 747 monster in the gym, the old furnace. That's the H in HVAC. But you're also going to put air conditioning, cold air in there. And high efficiency lighting everywhere in most of these facilities. Why? Well,
again, not to dwell on numbers, but I shared last night that we spend somewhere between $250,000 to $275,000 on electricity only in our district. We know that the old T12s that we have that are antiquated,
that's light bulbs,
need to be replaced at some point, again obsolete to even get parts, and we're going to update with either T5 or T8s. We're going to go with the auto censoring occupancy lighting, which again will be more efficient, should be more academically appealing because of the brightness. And then our gyms, we're also going to upgrade, and people don't realize that those gym lights are on all day. And a lot of times when you let the public use your facilities, which you should, that we believe, one, we're going to be more efficient, two, we're going to have to do this at some point, so let's do it all right now. And you know, again, the whole maintenance time that it takes, we're going to improve that.
You know, one of the points of a bond issue is you get the money when they sell the bonds. It's handed to you. So your investment, if it's about efficiency, you can start recognizing it quicker. So in a business, your payback starts quicker. Well, the payback to the taxpayers here starts quicker because of funding it through bond versus funding it through a piece at a time capital outlay. So if it's about efficiency, and if you want to talk numbers to Mike about efficiency, I'm sure he's happy to do that. But for the point of this, if you do it now, you have more efficiency for a longer time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Now, you're going to fix a track. You're going to construct a 300-meter track in Wakefield instead of street running and grass running over there for the benefit of the student athletes and the public in Wakefield.
Correct.
You're going to fix some doors and windows that you have to see to believe. You know, these are old doors and windows that it's at the end of their life and they need fixed. Then the big issue for question 2, which is Unruh Stadium, where you hold football games and other sort of adventures over there. You want to put a football arena field in the middle of your track at the high school, resurface that track, and have a multi-use facility with turf that's open to all activities, all people, including community, and put softball fields north across Prospect Street for the exact same reason, tying everything to your facility, safety, continuity, operational efficiency, but you put that in question 2 so people could decide on those issues separately.
Yeah, when we started discussing the athletic pieces, of course the emotionality, some nostalgia, some of those things came out, and the board, I believe, had the right approach and said, okay, we're going to pull out at least the multi-sports athletic complex to replace Unruh and have our patrons vote on that separately. But we do have some athletic components in question 1. And the board felt like that maybe that was a higher priority. And so there's some of those things, I think about 15% of question 1, which is $7.7 million, is athletic related, and then $2 million for this new multi-sports complex. And I think it's been hard because, you know, Unruh has been such a kind of pillar, so to speak, for our community. The nostalgia, people have played there. But I think every superintendent in the state would tell you, for safety and efficiency reasons, they like having their facilities contiguous, supervision-wise as well. to their buildings. But we have 3 fields that we're maintaining currently, actually 4 when you include the middle school. By putting turf down, we would go from watering, fertilizing, prepping 3 fields to 1. But the big thing, because I can put a pencil to it, and like you said, numbers aren't great here, but when you look at the equalization and what it's going to cost versus what we're paying for the other fields, in 10 years, 12 years, it's about a wash, okay? The true savings would be after you replace that turf, that initial turf, 10, 12, 15 years down the road for half of what it cost initially. That's when you really would see savings. But what I hear from people that have put turf in, from superintendents, it's that community accessibility and usability 24/7 that you can't put a pencil to, that everyone really appreciates.
Well, I'm going to do a segue to something I care about a lot, and you can live there in fear until I'm done. So I think that doing a move like you're doing here creates a wonderful opportunity for local business to say, I now have new facilities and I can support new activities that will happen there. Because the single biggest additive thing to local business are new people coming to town. The old multiplier of about 7 times the dollar turnovers, everybody kind of gets used to that. But here's what is true. When you compete as a community, your best shot at winning a new person that wants to move here, or they're considering a job application from Hutch Mayrath or an offer from them, and they happen to bring their kids to a softball tournament or a football game, is when they come to town. They will make that decision from their eyes to their heart, and they will say, I could live here. Even as hard as that is to put a pencil to today here, it can have a pencil put to it, but it's the job of business to do that, me and other people like me. And I can't sit on my hands and wait for Mike Folks to make life good for me. I have to say, they have a new facility here, and gosh, let's go see if we can find a way of getting 2 more volleyball tournaments, a Pee Wee Little League football thing going where people are driving in on Saturday. The incremental opportunity for local business by a school investment like this is potentially very large.
I can't disagree with any of that, Dennis. Are we truly the sole economic engine for Clay County? No. Are we a big wheel or driver? Yes, we are the largest employer in the district. But as I shared last night, when young prospective families call me, and if they're going to retire to Clay County or Clay Center, those people don't call me, but those people with kids call me.
Yeah.
And they look at academics, and we're really strong, like all the schools in north central Kansas are strong. But the second thing they look at is recreational opportunities for their kiddos. And academics are our priority, but then we want really strong fine arts programs. We want really strong vocational programs.
And you have them.
We have those, and we have wonderful facilities. We really do, and wonderful teachers. Our athletic programs are strong. We've got some facilities that need some TLC, and it would, again, the opportunity to bring them in, to be contiguous, to be efficient, has presented itself because of some other things that have happened legislatively. So we're trying to do all those things. But yeah, we are a big part of the driver as far as economic opportunities. And when you bring families in, whether it's a B softball tournament or youth football or flag football or whatever, they're going to spend those dollars there. Yeah. And it's like I shared last night, we do compete with the other area schools.
Sure,
if you're looking to move to north central Kansas or whatever, people are looking at Wamego and their infrastructure, and Abilene and Chapman and different places, Manhattan, Junction City.
So we're about out of time. In fact, I'm pretty sure we're close to out of time. So I'm going to ask you one final question, because I think it goes to the heart of who you are, and it goes to the heart of this question with you in the superintendent's chair. You look pretty comfortable standing up there last night with the microphone in your hand, talking and answering questions. Were you?
Yes.
Okay.
More comfortable last night than I am today in front of the TV.
No, you're doing great. So, you know, this is I see that's an important thing. It's a reflection of what you think and what you feel. You're unafraid to defend this. You're unafraid to answer questions. So, I asked you the question a while ago, if you're a business, would you do this? You said yes. So, if you were a superintendent in some other school district faced with the same thing, would you be saying this here?
Absolutely, Dennis. It was actually, not that I'm going to take any credit at all, because the voters are going to take, you know, the credit for this, but in the board. But, you know, I brought the idea because I told the board through a bond issue, we accomplish a couple things. First of all, we give our patrons a vote, which is really important. And with this proposal, we have got the best bang for the buck for our students and our taxpayers. It's like I shared last night. I'm not going to tell, or legally can I tell someone to vote yes. Our job is to educate, to get the information out there. But we cannot put together a better plan or proposal with this opportunity, with the interest rates, with what's happened in Topeka legislatively, and having the ability to raise $9.7 million worth of money through a bond issue to do the things that we've talked about without a tax increase. A lot of people have said it can't be done, but because of the redistributing those different funds, we can do it. We're confident that we can do it.
You're a fun guy, Mike. I enjoy talking to you every time I see you. Folks, if you want to know more and you want to look Mike Folks in the eye, he's not hard to find. He's a big guy up here, not much hair, lives right in the corner office over there and has a great laugh. He would love to see you today in Clay Center. For Eagle Communications, I'm Dennis Weese, my friend Mike Folks. Have a great day.
Thanks, Dennis.